Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Cassie Milligan, and I am the Parent Instructional Coordinator here at Central Gwinnett High School. I thank you for joining us for our meeting, What Parents Need to Know About Graduation Requirements, Credits, and Credit Recovery. I want to let you know that this meeting is being recorded, just so our participants are aware of that. If you could please keep yourself muted unless you have a question. And once I start sharing the presentation, it may be difficult for me to see you virtually. So if you would please use your hand if you have a question. I'll also be stopping at certain points along the presentation to see if there are questions or anything that needs to be clarified. And I am going to start by sharing my presentation screen. Okay, and start with present. Okay, for those of you, I'm going to pick on Miss Williams since I can see her. Do you see the screen that says what parents need to know about graduation requirements? You can just do a thumbs up. Yep, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so once again, the title of this session is What Parents Need to Know About Graduation Requirements, Credits, and Credit Recovery. So in today's meeting, we're going to talk about graduation requirements, credits, a little bit about Parent Portal and eClass and how they can help you in knowing about your child's credits. And particularly, we'll be talking about credit recovery because there are some opportunities for credit recovery that are going on right now that's very important for our parents to be aware of. Starting with graduation requirements. So with graduation requirements, the basics of it is that their students need 23 credits, and that's the state requirement for graduation. So 23 credits. And we will talk about what a credit is, how a student earns a credit, what courses are required, and all of that in one moment. Additionally, for graduation requirements, typically students have had to pass the Gwinnett County Public School high school gateway test. However, the county requirement is currently waived for this. And then also pass the end of course test or the milestones exams, which you might have been hearing about recently. And that exam typically counts a certain percentage of the final grade of the semester in which the test is given. So a little bit more information about graduation requirements with the EOC, so the end of course test, or milestones is the name of the assessment program. Students have certain courses that have a state end of course test or an EOC or milestones test that's given in the semester, which is the final semester of that course. So some of the courses are only, actually at this point, all the courses are 2 semesters because there's been an update as far as which courses will have EOC tests. Typically is counted 20% of the final grade of the semester in which the test is given. However, we'll talk about how that's different for this year. As you know, this year has been very different for various reasons, but it's also made things different as far as some of the graduation requirements have been waived. So the end of course tests are given in the courses of American Literature and Composition, which students usually take in 11th grade. Algebra 1, which students typically take in 9th grade. Biology, which students typically take in 9th grade as well, and then US history, which students usually take in 11th grade. So those are now the 4 courses that the state considers being end of course courses that require a milestone. Now, as I mentioned, typically these exams would count 20% of the final grade of the second semester grade. But because of the pandemic and COVID, For this year, there's been a change. So schools still must administer the test. However, it is only counting 0.01% of the student's final grade for the exam for the semester in which it's given. So those students who are taking it for this semester in these four courses, the test only counts 0.01%. And yes, that is correct, 0.01%. And if you can give me 1 second, I'm gonna see if I can do my screen so that I am able to see a little bit better. There we go. Okay. Any questions about the end of course test? Okay. I'm not seeing any
Is
electronic.
this for all the for ninth graders too? All this you're explaining to us?
It is. So if you
Okay.
notice, biology and algebra courses are typically for students who are in ninth grade. So ninth grade students will typically take the algebra 1 end of course test and a biology end of course test. So yes. And then all of the graduation requirements and the credits apply to all students starting in ninth grade. Credits start accruing, and it's important to know that because sometimes with the transition, it can be a little bit more difficult for ninth graders, yet what they do in ninth grade stays with them throughout their high school career. Okay, any other questions?
Question.
Mhm.
Yeah, the 20% that would normally be allocated towards the EOC,
Mhm.
is it at the teacher's discretion where that 20% goes, or the 19.99%, or how is that being determined?
It's actually put into the grade book as the EOC. So remember, that's not counted for this year. So in the grade book, there is a category that would be EOC. And for this year, it would literally be 0.01%. So the student would take the end of course test, which is a state test, it's a computerized test. And then that category, that percentage is already marked off within that student's grade book and within that teacher's grade book.
So my question is, though, that go from being 20% down to 0.01% of it, what happens to that remaining percent? That gap, then where does that get allocated towards?
Oh, I see what you're saying. It would be, as far as I know, I mean, it's just the regular. Okay, your question was as far as would it be within that student's or that teacher's discretion as far as where the rest would go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it would depend upon the class, and most classes are set up so that everyone is somewhat similar as far as credits, but there is no like set amount or set, for instance, exams that would cover that other percentage of what it is. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you for clarifying your question.
No problem.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
My child is EOCL. I mean, she's from another country. She entered a high school in the 11th grade. Does that affect the EOC for the ninth grade courses? How does that affect
So
EOC?
So students who have come in and who have not already received credit for that that course from somewhere else would still need to take it. If they've already received credit for it, then they would not have to go back to take it.
And is there a way I can find out if she has already received credit for them? What is expected of her?
Sure. As I'll be mentioning later on, the best place to check with is your child's counselor. And a little bit later on, I'll be letting you know how you can find out who your child's counselor is.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Any other questions about the end of course test? Okay. With Gateway, which is another graduation requirement that is specific to Gwinnett County Public Schools. So I'm giving you what typically happens and then what's happening for 2021, because things are different. And what I'll let you know is I don't know how things will be after 2020, 2021. We haven't been told yet. But as far as Gateway, typically Gwinnett County Public School students must pass the Gateway in order to receive a diploma. It is a Gwinnett specific test. So that means that if you were in another county, say DeKalb or Fulton, your student would not have the Gateway, your child would not have the Gateway. So it is a Gwinnett County specific test. The high school gateway is an essay-based exam consisting of 2 tests, US history and biology and chemistry. And students would typically have to show proficiency on both of those in writing and in content with a score of 500 or more. And then students who do not pass their first time around are generally offered repeated opportunities to take and pass the test. So that is typically how things are. However, for 2021, the GCPS High School Gateway Test is not being administered this year and is being waived as a requirement for graduation. So High School Gateway is not a requirement for graduation for this year. How it exactly affects students after this year, graduating classes after this year, we are to receive additional information. And that's the best that I can tell you regarding that at this point with graduation requirement regarding Gateway. Are there any questions regarding Gateway at this point? If you can unmute yourself and ask, please. Okay, everyone seems to be good with that. Okay. And I'm admitting one person. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're going to talk a bit about credits. So what is a credit? And I'm giving you the official definition of what the county and what the state considers a credit, and then we'll break it down into more practical terms as far as exactly what it means. So the term credits or units, sometimes you'll hear Carnegie units, are used interchangeably to identify how much each course pass counts towards graduation requirement of those 23 credits. And the reason that credits are used is so that if your child is in a school in, say for instance, Jackson County, and then they move to Gwinnett County, they can look at the course identification and the number of credits that your child has earned, and it would equate so that they would have credits or units or Carnegie units from their previous school that would equate to what they would be taking in Gwinnett County Public Schools or any school system for that matter, or even if they move out of state, that credit would still be what makes it the equivalent of having those courses. So what does that look like, or how are credits earned? So to earn a credit for a class, and we'll talk about in Central Gwinnett, most of our credits are given in half credits and why that is. But to earn a credit for a class or the half credit for a class, students must pass the class with a grade of 70% and above. So if you notice here, the Gwinnett County Public School grading scale, a D, which is passing, starts at 70. So anything 70 and above would earn a credit or half a credit for that student. And then anything below 70, the student would fail the class and therefore would not earn any type of credits. So how are credits earned throughout the year? So at Central Gwinnett and most Gwinnett County public schools, or all Gwinnett County public schools, except for Phoenix high schools, you have 2 semesters. So each semester is 18 weeks. In each class that your student passes, that your child passes with a 70% or above, they are able to earn half a credit for that semester. So some courses consist of really 2 semester of classes. Like for instance, if your child is in 9th grade and is taking biology, then they have biology from first semester, which is part 1 of biology, and then biology from second semester, which is part 2 of biology. So they would get a half credit for each semester that's passed. Therefore, in biology altogether, they would have 1 credit, just so you know how the classes work. So for each class passed for the semester, and at Central Gwinnett, students typically have 8 graded classes. So the student receives 70% in all classes. At the end of that semester, that student would have earned 4 credits for the semester. Okay, so I'll repeat that. Each class that's passed with 70% or more, students can earn half a credit or half a unit, because students at Central Gwinnett High School typically take 8 graded classes per semester. Passing all classes at the end of that semester at half credit for each class would give you 4 credits for that semester. As far as the year, there are 2 semesters or 2 18-week grading periods in the year. So there are 2 semesters per school year. So after the 2 semesters, if a student passes all classes with a 70 and above, after 2 semesters, you would have 8 credits per year. Remember, 4 credits each semester. So that would give you 8 credits. Are there any questions regarding that? If you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
So my daughter transferred the beginning of the second semester from Texas.
Okay.
Now their credits are totally different from here in Georgia.
Mhm.
So for her biology, she has each semester is 1 full credit.
Mhm.
So just say for some odd reason she happens to fail this second quarter, hypothetically speaking, does she still receive the full credit? I mean, being that she already had it. Does that make sense?
If she had, so did she finish biology? Because some schools do that, like they'll take 4 classes in a semester. So you take the whole course in a semester. So she earned biology.
Yes.
She earned biology credit already?
Yes,
But
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
okay.
But she's in it right now.
But she's taking biology again?
Here, yes, because like I said, the schools are totally different in Texas,
Okay.
and their grading scale is different.
Okay,
So
then
she
once
has
again,
it now. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, then once again, I would suggest getting in contact with their counselor. The counselors are the ones who, they call it transcribe the transcripts. So the course histories of students that come in from other locations, the counselors transcribe that. And something as specific as that, I would check in with the counselor.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you need me to get with you about who that counselor is, I can help you with that as well. Because typically,
Yeah.
if a student has passed biology, like a 9th grade, like a high school biology class, and they've passed it and received the credit for the year, and that course is equivalent to a Georgia course, they wouldn't take it again. So that's
Okay.
why there might be something else that's going on that I don't have that information to, that I would be able to give you the best answer.
Okay, because it did seem kind of weird because she's a sophomore, and I'm like, she's taking biology again, and she just took it last semester there.
Then I would definitely check with the counselor. My suggestion and my recommendation to parents is to always be sure you know what your classes your child is in, because errors can occur, and to double check like each semester, each year, to make sure what classes your child is in, because sometimes errors are made by the computer, It can be made by people, and even the students should be able to check. Also, I encourage the parents to do so as well. That
Okay.
way
Thank
you can
you.
advocate for them. You are more than welcome. Any other questions? Okay. So we talked about how the credit is earned within a semester and then 1 year. So mathematically, as you go through, you can see how after the 1 year, you have the 8 credits. And then after 4 years, which would be 8 semesters, students who pass all of their classes with a 70 or above would actually have the opportunity to earn 32 credits in 4 years at Central Gwinnett High School. So that can be helpful in various ways. One, if a student has an oops moment in a class and maybe does not pass the class for 1 semester, they would have an opportunity or room within their schedule in the upcoming years, given that it's not a senior in 2nd semester, to retake that class without too much pressure. Additionally, students who are doing well, that gives them the opportunity to take additional classes, whether that's AP classes or like AP sociology or AP psychology that might be of interest to them. Also, fine arts classes, and of that type, students will have more of an opportunity to take different classes and electives that would be of interest to them. But once again, remember that you can earn 32 credits in 4 years, but we're going to keep emphasizing that students need 23 credits, but of specific classes and courses that are required. So a student could have 23 credits and still not be able to graduate because they don't have 23 credits in the appropriate areas. So
Hey, I got
promotion.
a question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So like if it's a science, and I know like biology, they have first and second semester. If they fail one of those semesters, I guess my question is, how would they be able to make that up?
That is an excellent question. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the program. So if you can hold on to that question and make sure that you get the answer that you're looking for, or that I address it. And if not, ask me again. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So with promotion, we talked about credits. So parents and students, as they should be, are concerned about when they see certain grade levels, like if their child is in 10th grade or 11th grade or 12th grade, on reports and things like that. That is a good indicator about the progress of your child academically. But at the same time, it's more important to make sure that the credits are in the areas that are required, which we'll get into in a moment, because the promotion from 9th grade to 10th grade is 5 credits, but they could have 5 credits and the majority of those be elective credits. So that's why it's important to keep up with your child's credits and what they're taking, and also talking with them about that. So for promotion, from 9th grade to 10th grade, a child needs 5 credits. Remember, they can earn 8 credits in 9th grade year. From 10th to 11th grade, 11 credits. From 11th to 12th grade, 17 credits. And then graduation is 23 credits. So the key, which is really important, is that all those students can earn up to 32 credits at Central Gwinnett High School. The key is that the 23 credits must meet the graduation requirements for specific classes, both core and elective. So what are those classes? In language arts, you need 4 credits of language arts. So basically, if you equate the way that it's done at Central Gwinnett, 1 credit for about a year, So you're basically talking about 4 years of language arts. In math, 4 credits, science, 4 credits, social studies, 3. Foreign language, CTAE, which are computer tech, engineering classes, agricultural and engineering classes. So those technical classes, and fine arts, those are combined within one area, and the students need 3 credits of those electives. PE and health, there's a specific PE class that students take as Introduction to Fitness, and then the health class is each one semester. So together they make up 1 credit. And then students need to take an additional 4 credits of electives. I will mention this because sometimes I will hear students and parents that will state, well, it's an elective class, it's not important. And I understand the reasoning for that is because they'll think, well, it's not a core class, it's not language arts, math, science, or social studies. However, it's important to keep in mind that students still need a total of 7 credits of electives. And sometimes students don't take that to heart and will not try their best in some of their elective classes, not realizing that they still need that for graduation, or not remembering that they need that for graduation, because the students are reminded of this through talks with their counselors and through our advisement classes as well. One thing with foreign language is that it's not a requirement for graduation in the state of Georgia. It used to be, but it's not anymore. However, it is often a requirement for entry into many universities. So your child could graduate and have a diploma, but have difficulties being accepted to certain universities based on not having that language requirement. And many universities will ask for at least 2 years of the same language. And remember, they're able to do that very easily. The students are, with having the opportunity to gain 32 credits within the 4 years. So there's plenty of room for language arts. There's plenty of room for, if the student is interested in taking computer classes or coding or cybersecurity. If they're interested in fine arts, there's plenty of opportunity for them to participate in band or orchestra, chorus, or take higher level visual art classes. Those are all opportunities that they're able to have with being able to earn the 32 credits. Okay, so are there any questions about credits? It sounds like someone just came on. Go ahead with
Yeah,
your question.
question about the electives and what falls under which category. So JROTC is still relatively new to Central Gwinnett. And so does that fall just under the electives umbrella, or does that fall under the more specialized umbrella?
You know what? I would need to check about that,
Okay,
and I
That-
will double check.
thank you.
Actually, not even double check. I will check because I do not know the answer to that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. Let me get my list going. And for those of you who are wondering about that, Central Gwinnett has a JROTC program, Army. So students are able to take leadership classes and so forth. And it does count as electives, but the question was whether or not it would fall into that foreign language, CTAE, or fine arts, or whether it would fall into the general electives. And I do not know the answer to that, but I will find out. And when I send this out, I will include it with the any questions that were asked that weren't addressed or answered in the presentation. Also, if you do have a question, you can feel free to put it up in the chat, And I'm gonna stop in a moment so I could kind of look through some of those. And then also at the end, there's an evaluation that I would love for you to be able to complete. And it does ask on there as well if you have any additional questions or you would like more information about something. And if you would fill that out as well, and I will be sure to get back to you, as long as you make sure you put your name and a number so that I know who to get back to. Because sometimes I have really good questions that get asked, but I'm not able to respond back to the person because I'm not sure who asked it.
I
Okay.
have a question.
Yes.
My son failed language arts um, sometimes in ninth grade, and now he's doing credit recovery. How do I know that, okay, he's all set, he's ready for graduation? Because I keep on getting these emails saying your child needs to come to the school, which I sent him, but and I know I've been on him to do the credit recovery um, assignments.
Mhm.
So now, at some point, w- how do I know? Okay, it's been completed. Do I need to check with his advisor? How do I get an answer saying, okay, he's ready for graduation now?
If you have any questions like that, I would get with his counselor. Yes,
Okay.
because seniors have a they call it a senior checklist,
Hmm.
and you should have received one in the mail. And the counselors have to meet with all of the seniors. They would have done this first semester,
Hmm.
and actually they do it with all the juniors as well. It was a little bit off because of pandemic last year, but I believe
Hmm.
they were meeting with them virtually as well. So but for seniors, they get together with all the seniors beginning part of first semester and let them know exactly what they need for graduation. And then we're going to get hit into credit recovery.
Hmm.
But to answer the dominant question of what you were saying, is I would confirm with the counselor what has
Okay.
been done.
Okay.
Now, and then I'll explain a little bit more about who else you can also check with depending upon which credit recovery program your child has taken, which I'll
Okay.
mention in a moment.
Thank you.
You are welcome. You guys are having excellent questions. Okay. Any more about the credits? Okay, great. Okay, so where can you find out how many credits your child has? First, you can look at transcripts. So transcripts are sent home after each semester. So whenever there's a finalized grade, because remember, we have 2 semesters, so grades aren't finalized until the end of that semester. So for this semester, it ends May 26th, I believe, is the last day. So that's when grades would be finalized. And then within a few weeks of that, you would get a transcript. You can also request a transcript, an unofficial transcript from the registrar's office. But I'm going to show you an easier way to get your child's credits and to see exactly what's going on without having to do that. But just keep in mind that those transcripts are sent home at the end of each semester. And this is what it typically looks like, where you'd be able to see the student information. Um, I've typed in a few things that you can see on there as far as you would see where the credits are, you would see what the grade was for that class, when the class was taken as far as a semester, um, what was taken in each grade, the grade point average, and all of that is located on the transcript. And then when you look at the back page, it has the gateway information that would typically be there in years past. I don't know what it'll look like this year, given the fact that things are different. But going from there is gives you an outline of what a transcript would look like, and it would have all courses that your child has taken in high school, And then there are some courses that students can get credit for in 8th grade, for instance, physical science. And also some students receive credit for Algebra 1, and those would show on a transcript as well. Another way that you can see what your child is doing as far as credits is within the parent portal. I cannot stress enough to you the importance of being able to access your parent portal account. And I say it that way because the majority of our parents have filled out a form for parent portal. But after you fill out the form, an email is sent out and you have to complete the registration online. Just like a lot of apps, you have to do that to confirm that you put in the right email address, because mistakes are made, that you're the right person and so forth. You have to complete the rest of it and activate it from that email. We can't activate it for you. So what we find is that most parents that filled out the form, but they didn't activate their account or verify their account after receiving the email. So I'll mention it a little bit later that if you're needing help with that, I can help you out with that in the Parent Center. You can just email me or give me a call and I can help you with that. As far as when you get into the parent portal, if you click on course history, it will show you, and this is new this year, so it looks a little different. It will show you the graduation status of your student. So this student that we're looking at is a senior student. So if you notice, a lot of the areas are green because they're completely green because that student has completed all of those requirements as a 12th grade student. You see a couple of areas that are yellow. Well, British Lit, the person took 1 semester and they're currently in the 2nd semester. So that's why it would be yellow. Just be careful looking at that, particularly if you're a 9th grade parent, because it will show like red because the student hasn't gotten to that course yet, but it'll say, well, 0% finished. And I've had parents call like, oh my God, what does this mean? And it's just stating, it's kind of like a progression bar, if you want to think about that for the 4 years. So what would be better to look at when you're looking for credits is below the colored bars and below where it says test requirements, I have it highlighted in yellow, it says student course history. This is usually kept off. So when it says detail, there is a sliding bar, and you have to slide it so that it looks like the top of this, turning it on. And then you're able to see all of your students' course titles that they've taken, the grade that they received, the credit attempted, which means how much that course was worth, the credit completed, which means what credit they received for that class. Remember, it needs to be a 70 or above. And then the school type. So when I took a screenshot of this, I had already filtered from the top part for high school. This student course history and parent portal will actually give you everything from kindergarten up with the grades. So when you go in for high school, just change the name or change the grade or one of those categories up top so that you're looking specifically at high school credits. Any questions about, and I'm backing up so you can see, any questions about the transcript or where to see credits in parent portal? And let me see if I can see what's in the chat. Okay.
I have a question about this slide.
Yes.
The previous slide I got, and somehow I turned my eyes and I missed what you did to get to this point.
Okay. So if you go down to, this is the slide that you're talking about, I'm
Yeah.
on right now. Okay.
Yeah, this one I get.
Okay. So you're going to click where it says detail and
Okay.
turn it to on. And then once you do that, it will have like,
The all. Okay, I get it.
and then change the school name to, like, if they've been in Central Gwinnett the
Mhm.
whole 4 years, switch it to Central Gwinnett, and then it'll show all of
Yes.
their classes.
Yes, I see
Okay.
it.
Oh,
Thank you.
perfect. You're welcome. Okay. And then unfortunately, and if someone has seen something different, please let me know. Like I said, this is the parent portal is new this year as far as the formatting of some of it. Well, actually went through a big change in format. And it used to be that you could see the number of credits that a student has. I do not see that anymore. You can see the student course history, but I did not find anywhere and have not found anywhere where it has just like the total credits earned. So you would have to go through and basically count it up. So each class is worth half, and you would use the credit completed category, not the credit attempted category is the key there. Something that I will send with the follow-up email to this with the links to the recorded video and any other information is a graduation status worksheet that you can use. And this has a listing of the required classes and then a sample of the classes. For instance, with math, that would depend could depend upon the student. For some advanced students, they may actually start in geometry in ninth grade. So that would look different for them with math 4. So that's why that's not filled out. But everything else is core and is required no matter what classes the student may have. And so with this checklist or graduation status, you would be able to keep check of what your student has taken and what your student needs. Question?
Yes, this is Leslie Mills. I think you just said that you didn't see where, well, let me tell you what on the course history under graduation status, at the top it says detail. If you hit on, down below it'll show required, completed, and in progress.
Yes, but is it, does it show the total?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. So it'll say like 20, your student has earned 20 credits.
He has earned 23, required 23, completed 20.5, in progress is 4.
Oh, perfect. And then that was under student course history?
Course history, and then when you go to the top where it says graduation status, detail, I hit on, and then you got to go back to the bottom. And it's going to show everything, and then it's going to give you totals.
Okay, perfect. I didn't click back on the top. Okay. So it's clicking on the
slide down.
graduation status is what you're clicking on.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then detail on.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for that. Like I
You're
said,
welcome.
we're still learning. I'm still learning this, and to me, it makes sense to put it down with student course history too. And that's how we used to have it. So that's probably why I was looking for it. Thank you. We all learn together. And then I'll make sure that I will put that into the what I send out, just that little tip as well. Thank you so much. Okay. And I'm sorry, I can't show you.
Question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
So now, in that slide, where it says required, it says 23 required, and it says completed 23.5. 23.5. So in progress 3.5. So does that mean that he's on track?
See, that goes back to the slide where I mentioned that the key is making sure that it's 23 credits with these. So I'm
Okay.
guessing if what grade level is the student in?
12.
Okay. So that's what you need to make sure of, that the credits that are there out of those 23, what is actually credits for those that are
Okay.
required. So
Okay.
no, that's just telling you just straight up number wise.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. Okay. And I think the majority of the ones that were in the chat we've addressed or will address. Okay. So what to do if your child is not on track for graduation? So you've gone through and you've looked, or if you're not sure, you need to communicate with your child. They typically know. They may say they don't know, but they do. And then if you communicate with them and to see what they're needing assistance with. Also communicate with the counselor to be particularly regarding specific situations. If you're not sure if you've come in from somewhere else, out from another Gwinnett County public school, from another state of Georgia school, from out of state, anything like that, it's really important to make sure of what you need for graduation. If you just came in this year, I'll be really honest. It's be relieved that you don't have to worry about Gateway, because Gateway is for any student who would have been for any student who comes in Gwinnett County Public Schools, even as a senior. To graduate, the student would have had to take and pass the Gateway. So with that being waived this year, that's one less thing that you would have to worry about. And then also you can communicate with me. I'm there for your basic questions, and then also to get you in contact with your counselors and to help you get in contact with the people that you need to, who would be able to assist you even more than I can. And then I'll have my parent center information at the end of the presentation. So what are some things that you can do? You can arrange for a parent teacher conference. If it's with more than one teacher, that's usually scheduled through the counselor. Tutoring, teacher tutoring or tutor.com, which I'll explain in a moment. There are also resources in the parent center that can be checked out. You can give me a call. I am accepting visits. Scheduled visits are preferred to the parent center. You have resources in language arts, math, social studies, science that students can use. Or you can even send the student to the parent center and I can go over that information with them and check out that information to you and give it to them. And then please be sure that you are able to access your parent portal so that you can monitor grades, monitor attendance, and so forth, to make sure that they are where your child is as far as their progress academically. I mentioned tutoring. So each Central Gwinnett High School teacher offers tutoring either in the morning or in the afternoon, and you can check the teacher's e-class page in order to see their schedule. And then also Gwinnett County Public Schools and Gwinnett County Public Library offers online tutoring through tutor.com. And I am going to put the link for additional information in the chat box. So I'm going to come out of the presentation for a moment to be able to do that. But what tutor.com is that you can actually, there we go. Okay. You can sign up to have a virtual tutor. And this is one of these times where I was like, have patience with me in doing this. Copy. Okay, that is the link to, that I just put in the chat box, is the link to tutor.com. And I'm going to go back to presentation, present. Okay. And with tutor.com, you are able to go online and set up for a virtual tutor at your convenience to work with your child on basically any subject. And it's free through the Gwinnett County Public Library. So you will need to log on a certain way so that you will get it for free. Otherwise, it is very expensive. It is done through the Princeton Review. And like I said, it is expensive to do it on your own, but it is free for Gwinnett County Public School students. Okay. Be sure that you're monitoring your child on Parent Portal, as I mentioned, and if you need help, to contact me. Also, the other part of this is that e-class. So your students' classwork, class information, and the class resources are typically in the e-class. So it's important that you have access to e-class. Right now, still the best way is to get your child's password and ID from them in order to be able to see the e-class information. So credit recovery, if your child has failed a class, credit recovery is what they can use to make up a course or a class. Remember, I've been mentioning what typically happens, and then also kind of what's been currently happening because of pandemic and because of COVID. So credit recovery is an abbreviated class that students can use to make up a class, to make up a course, a semester. Typically, a student would need to have failed the class with a 60 to 69%, because instead of repeating the whole class, they are is typically online, although some may do it face to face, but most times these days it's online. They are completing certain highlighted AKS or curriculum requirements in order to be able to get a passing grade for that class. A couple of questions usually comes up with that. Does the failed grade go away from the transcript? It does not. They will end up getting, so that stays there no matter what happens, whether they make it up with a retaking the whole course just as in a different semester, or if they do credit recovery, that failed grade still stays on their transcript. And then where does it show up? Again, it will show up as credit recovery, and it will be like a 70 that they received credit for it. And then we're going to talk about credit recovery right now, but the main thing to keep in mind is that right now there are multiple sources of credit recovery that the school is using, at least 3 or 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. So if you're going to have specific questions regarding it, it's best that you contact me afterwards or contact the counselor, because I would not know the exact source of your child's credit recovery that they have. So I'm giving you an overview of credit recovery, and with the main purpose of making sure that all the parents are aware that credit recovery is possible, to be aware that usually an email is sent out. We're not able to send out mass phone calls anymore, automated phone calls. So just be aware that happened last year, but with all the changes, some people missed that the only phone calls that you get that are not automated from Gwinnett County Public Schools or like emergency ones that are coming from the county. So it's important that you check email and important that that the parent and student follow up on any opportunities. So a couple of credit recovery or that's going on. One credit recovery that's going on, and this is a big one. So remember I said that typically the student has to make a 60 through a 69 in order to be eligible to recover a credit for a class through credit recovery. So for this semester, what has happened or what is happening right now is that credit recovery is being offered to any student that failed a first semester class in the following classes. And I have them listed: algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calc, AMDM, which is a senior math course, and statistical reasoning, which is a senior math course. Biology, chemistry, physics, oceanography, which is usually used as that 4th year science elective that's required. And then US history, world history, 9th grade language arts, 10th language arts, and 11th grade language arts. If your student failed the semester in any of these courses last semester that ended in December, they were sent an email, and parents as well, from what I understand, and actually someone just mentioned it, an email regarding the opportunity to do credit recovery. This credit recovery for these classes is waiving the grade requirement of 60 to 69, so they could have gotten any grade. It is currently in their E-class, so they just need to follow directions in E-class to activate their account. And then the credit recovery is due April 12th. So that, and I'm going to talk about why that's good in a moment as far as spring break. The other opportunity that students are getting, the school is doing what it's considering mandatory 12th grade for 12th grade students, Friday credit recovery days. They're trying to help students if they're needing assistance getting into their credit recovery, if they're needing help, and just giving them a time, particularly those who may be digital, a time to come in and just focus on their credit recovery, because they may need it for graduation, which is in a little less than 2 months now. Today's the 29th. So the school is trying to give all students an opportunity. We know that things are difficult right now for various reasons for students, and trying to give them every opportunity that it can regarding making up credits. Are there any questions about this particular current credit recovery that's due April 12th? Okay.
So you said they have to go to their E-class and they'll see it in their E-class.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
And it'll say credit recovery and they register, or, you know,
Yes, the
okay.
email gives them information. And then the other thing, I believe I saw it in a parent, because they sent it out through the Synergy, which is our database, is that I believe it also shows in your parent portal. In parent portal and messages, those are the emails that are sent out from the school, from the teachers, and so forth. So if you get into parent portal and look in messages, I believe it's in there as well.
Yeah, I have lots of those in there. So,
I know. I know.
I'm
There's
so
many
overwhelmed. I can't
emails.
even, I can't
I
even explain. I'm
know.
so overwhelmed. But yeah, when they send it to my email, I mean, they have a code. So those classes have codes that they have to, like, for certain class. Okay.
Yeah. And so and then that's the big one that's going on right now. Your child might also have on their schedule where it says like online placement class, that means they're taking a credit recovery class, or could even be a course. Gwinnett, Central Gwinnett has an actual room where there's a teacher and students are able to do online courses, whether it's credit recovery or courses during the day. And because it's during the day, with the courses, they don't have to pay for them. So it's like we have a little like online program at, well, it's not little, but we have a online program at Central Gwinnett, primarily for credit recovery, but also for courses that sometimes students would like to take that we don't have available, that kind of thing. So you might see Baxter as a teacher, and that means that they're enrolled in some type of online course, credit or credit recovery. There are also some students who are taking credit recovery through Phoenix High School. There are some students that are taking credit recovery through the Give School program. So there are about at least 5 different credit recovery sources that are happening right now. So that's why I'm like, if it's something specific, it's best to get with me afterwards or get with the counselor, because I wouldn't know necessarily exactly which credit recovery program your child would be in. But this one that I'm referring to now is going to hit the majority of students because of the fact that they waive the grade requirement, and that is in your e-class, and basically all the student has to do is finish it. You may be wondering, well, how long does it take to do a credit recovery class? The students work at their own pace. Some students have finished it in 2 days, just working steadily on it. And one thing I wanted to mention was time management and scheduling. We're all a bit overwhelmed. I know we're just talking about the emails, and that has been something that has come up where we're trying to be better as a school as far as sending out emails. But I know that's just the world that we live in, where everyone sends out emails. And that can be overwhelming. Well, the students are feeling a bit overwhelmed as well. And working with your child regarding time management is important. Excuse me. My allergies are getting the best of me. Time management is important, particularly if they have their 8 classes and they're doing credit recovery classes. It can be overwhelming for them. So speaking with them about time management, maybe taking care of their classes during the week, and then working on their credit recovery classes on the weekend. I know they wouldn't be happy about that, but at this point, we do what we got to do. But working with them to set up a schedule, having a calendar, having an agenda is helpful for them, because sometimes time management is not a strength of some teenagers or even some adults. I know I have to work on scheduling sometimes and making sure I'm not overwhelming myself. Spring break is April 5th through 9th, so that's next week. So think about that. If they have all of next week off and they have credit recovery that they could do, that would be a good time to work on credit recovery. It is not due until the 12th. So that's that Monday that they come back. So that could be an opportunity for them to work without having to worry about their other classes at this point. And sorry about that. And with a little less stress. Okay, some additional options to make up credits. Please check with your counselor about any other additional offers. Summer school, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. Phoenix High School offers a 7th period class where students can take an evening or late afternoon class. If your student is very behind in credits, we're not talking about like maybe 1 class or 2 classes, then Phoenix could also be a school that might be of interest to you. It is a Gwinnett County Public School high school, just like Central Gwinnett High School is. The difference is that they have alternate setting as far as scheduling, excuse me, not setting, scheduling. So students can schedule their own classes, whether it's morning or afternoon or evening. They don't have classes on Friday. They have mini semesters. So instead of 2 semesters, they have 4 mini semesters. So students take a smaller number of classes within a mini semester, which allows them to focus more on fewer classes. So there are definite benefits for some students for Phoenix High School. You can look on their website for that. Gwinnett Online Campus is also another option for credit recovery. And then Graduate Gwinnett are for students who are very close to graduating, have at least I believe it's 19, 20 credits. And what that program allows them to do is that they can take one course about every 20 days, and they do it one at a time to complete it. That's typically for students who may have left school without completing their diploma and only had a few credits left. And it works well for them because many of them are usually working. So down at the bottom, I had that a full half credit course for summer school is $250. However, I just saw today, or when I was putting this together, that there is new information for summer school. How all of this is working, I do not know, because I did not know until I went back on the website and saw, because it was new. So summer school dates are June 7th through June 30th, which I knew this part. Collins Hill, Duluth High School, and Parkview High School are the schools that are offering face-to-face summer school. Gwinnett, this is something typical. Gwinnett doesn't offer summer school in all schools. They will typically offer it in 3 high schools that are in different areas of the county. However, what is new for summer school 2021 is that GCPS will pay for up to 2 summer school classes for high school students needing to retake a class they previously failed. I honestly just saw that earlier this morning when I went just to check some websites, double check my websites, and that was there. So I'm not sure when it was posted. So, and I copied exactly what was on the site because I was like, whoa, that's awesome. The district is offering this option to students at no cost to address COVID-related learning gaps and provide students with an additional opportunity to earn credit for courses failed this year. So there should be like a round of applause throughout Gwinnett County regarding that, because as I said, the classes usually cost $250. So 2 classes would have been equivalent of about $500 to take the class. And then credit recovery, they're saying is no cost to participate in credit recovery for this summer either. The website for the Gwinnett County Public Schools summer school website is listed there. And it is active, and it does have additional information there regarding the courses and so forth. So that's the definite option to make up some classes for students. You can take summer school, because this will often come up. You can take summer school for classes that you haven't taken yet, but obviously it's not going to be paid for, and they are focusing on students who need to make up credits in order to graduate on time. So the takeaway is, don't wait to present your child with opportunities to get back on track if they do get off track. And honestly, this past year and a half, with everything that's been going on, some of our students who normally have always been on track have gotten a bit off track just due to various circumstances. So we want to make sure that those students have every opportunity that they need in order to get back on track. If you have a specific question, I know we were hitting more general questions during the presentation, make an appointment or contact your child's counselor. You can also make an appointment with me and the Parent Center. I'm not there on Fridays. I'm in the Parent Center part-time, Monday through Thursday. But you can always leave a message at the phone number that's shown there or email me and I will get back to you. All right, are there any additional general questions? Okay. Then tomorrow, just a reminder that there is a Title I planning meeting. So a lot of the opportunities for credit recovery that we're talking about, and usually in the summer, we use Title I funding to actually pay for summer school for some of our students. We'll be talking about the budgeting for Title I and parent involvement and engagement and so forth. So just so that you know, we would love to have you there 5:30 tomorrow on Zoom. And that is basically it for this session. As I've mentioned, any questions that you might have, you can put it in the chat. I will go back through the chat and address any that I believe I got to all of them that I saw. And but if you think of one right now, you can go ahead and put it there and I will get back with you. If you could please complete this survey, I am going to exit out of here and copy this and put it in the chat room. And then also the QR code is there so that you are able to use the QR code as well. Control V, and I see what I did before. I need this to everyone in meeting. There we go. And I believe, let's see, copy. And this is the link to the tutor.com. I didn't realize to just then that it went to just one person. Okay. All right, and then I had a question. The best way the student is doing for credit recovery is to go to their e-class. Yes, you can go to their, once again, this is going to depend upon which credit recovery that they're taking. If it's officially through like Gwinnett, some students take it from Gwinnett online classes, which is what Gwinnett County Public Schools, and those will actually show the grade in Parent Portal or in e-class. If they're doing credit recovery through the state, which is Georgia Virtual, you're not able to see those grades in e-class. But that, if they're doing it that way, it should show up that they have Mr. Baxter for as the teacher who is supervising that. You could communicate with Mr. Baxter and he will give you the updates on that. And then the other programs with Phoenix, and actually Phoenix will show up usually in Parent Portal, but Give is not going to show up. So you could check with the counselor and they could look and see what the current credit recovery scores are. So I know that's not a complete, well, it is an answer because that's how it is. It depends upon which source of credit recovery that they have. Is credit recovery good for sports players? Not if they wish to. There is something with NCAA where they typically do not accept credit recovery, so no. Yeah, so that's another good thing to keep in mind, that if you have a student who needs credit recovery and they are planning on doing some type of college sports, you would need to double check about what is acceptable and what is not, according to that school and NCAA requirements. Any other questions? Best way student. Okay, I fixed the chat. I think that's it. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you would please take a moment to and let me stop sharing so you can see me. Stop share. Okay, there I am. If you could take a moment to complete the survey or the evaluation, that would be great. And I know this meeting was kind of quickly advertised, and it was because we really just wanted to make sure the parents were aware of credit recovery and the great opportunity that basically every student who failed a core class last semester has to do credit recovery over the next couple of weeks. Okay, and I am going to put my name and telephone number in the chat. And let's not do my personal email, let's do my work email. dcbs.org. There you are. Okay. Alrighty then, I am going to stop recording. Just